Yep, and that being said, we are actually done with the round of 16. Now, there are two players who we haven't been able to cast strictly because I haven't been able to get a hold of their replays. Unfortunately, I'm not going to wait around for them to get those to me. So, what will happen is throughout the week, I'll eventually figure out who won and I'll move them forward. That winner will face name in the round of 8, which will be casted next Sunday, same time, about 10 a.m. Eastern. We'll start off with casting the round of 8, and then after those games are casted, which they will each be a best of 3, after that, we'll take a break until about after supper. I think it'll be around 6 or 7 Eastern. When we get closer to the date, we can really fine tune a time there for that. But after that, we'll be casting the best of 5 matches in the semifinals.
What I
And
do like about this bracket so far, and I'm assuming you're kind of looking at the bracket, but
yep,
um, it's 2 zeros for the entire round of 16. So it's almost as if like it's almost as if we're gonna have a 2-0 victory versus a 2-0 victory for every single battle if Thrust and Resurge had the same sort of same sort of battle, I guess. What am I trying to say? If the games went the same way as the rest of the games did for Thrust and Resurge, then we're going to see 2-0s versus 2-0s across the board for the round of 8. So
yep.
it'll be interesting.
And the way the bracket is set up, do you have the bracket on your side
I do.
or
I'm
okay?
looking at it now.
Yeah, so we're going to see either Thrust or Research. I'm not sure who's going to win that game. That's actually the sad thing is that seems to be possibly the most evenly matched up two
Yeah.
players there. So
I
we could have seen a 2-1 type series there. I'm not sure, but the winner of that game will be matched up against Name, who has been our best player for quite a while when we're
He
not
was
counting Tang.
right. He was the All Invitational Threes champion. He took first place in the All Invitational Three.
That was
Um,
before my time here, so I wasn't even aware of that.
Yeah, he took it before Lando took the All Invitational 4. So we'll have to see. Former champion going up against either Thrust or Resurge. That should be interesting. We'll see a ZVZ or a ZVP. Either way, it's going to do some good fireworks. But who? I mean, just looking at the bracket here, I mean, who do you think is going to take this entire competition? I mean,
It's hard. Okay, so obviously you instantly lean towards Tang because he's former GM. What it looks like is my predictions would be Name most likely taking whoever he gets matched up against, and then P Sosa and Neostar is going to be an interesting ZBZ. P Sosa has proven to be top diamond. Like he's getting close to masters now.
hmm
So I got to go with P Sosa there. And then in Stark versus Cyrex, I got to lean towards Stark on that one. So we'll have the Terran moving forward against Einherjar and Tang. Now, Einherjar, as good as he is going to be facing Tang. I would vote for Tang there. So my predictions would be Stark versus Tang in the semis, as well as Name versus P Sosa. And that's when things are really going to start to be interesting here because P Sosa knows how Name plays. But Name is still just has that step on him from what I've seen. I've seen them play before,
yeah.
and Name is just a couple steps ahead of Pisosa there. But Pisosa has been playing so much since then that who knows what he can pull out then.
It's true, and Name's actually he's got incredible macro, he's got incredible micro, and he's actually one of the more creative players on All Inspiration. He's got his own build. He's got
Yeah,
actually a couple different builds, and he's fun to watch. And all of his games are usually packed with some sort of shenanigans where it's not too cheeky, but at the same time it's something fresh, something new. Um, for the semis, I would say Neostar stands a chance, but P Sosa needs to not give him that window because looking at P Sosa's games in the ZVZs that we were watching, or P Sosa versus Nexlux, there were windows where P Sosa could have lost and could have lost really easily had the correct decisions been made. For more upgrades, like whether he was going to attack at a certain point, like there's windows where P Sosa is definitely human and definitely not invincible. So I would say the only definites that I would say are, I mean, if Resurge gets Thrust is a great player, but Resurge is a really great player as well. Resurge is an amazing Protoss player.
I gotta say,
I
I'm kind of hoping he goes through. I'd like to cast a Protoss game.
Yeah. Looking at this, I think I'd have to agree. I'd have to say probably Name versus P. Sosa in the semis if P. Sosa doesn't open up these windows, because it looks like he's really good at opening up these like macro styles, but then leaving a small window but kind of getting the most out of his units possible in order to fill that gap, surviving the early aggression and then just kind of coming back to it. So I
Yeah.
would say, yeah, probably Name versus P. Sosa in the semis if Resurge doesn't make an upset here. Stark, I'd say Stark versus Sai is probably probably unfortunately the most one-sided match in this round of 8. But I would say Stark, Terran versus Tang. So Stark versus Tang. That's a sad thing to happen in the round of 8. Personally, I would have liked to see that more in the semis. Or I'm sorry,
It would be in the
in the
semis.
finals. That's what I mean. I would like to have seen them be on opposite sides of the bracket, just because they are two really fantastic players. But one of them has to go. I'd have to say it's going to be Stark versus Tang in the semis. So yeah, Name P Sosa, Stark, Tang. We'll have to see.
Yeah, as you say that, you bring up an interesting point. I wonder, and it's not impossible for this to happen. If Stark can beat Tang, we could see a Stark versus Name matchup, and Stark has proven to be incredibly good at this game, but playing a new race against Name, who is, as far as I know, stuck to Zerg pretty much. I think he's played some Protoss before, but I'd be interested to see who wins in that matchup.
Well, the thing
Uh,
about Stark that makes him so just absolutely dangerous is there's two things about Stark that makes him just fearsome as all hell at this game. The first is that he's on a team with primarily almost all Zergs. He knows Zerg to probably the best that one could know Zerg. And the difference between Masters and GM is, micro and execution, but he knows the game. He knows what his opponents are capable at what times, and he has experience. The thing that makes him so scary is that Stark's macro is almost flawless every single time we watch him. It's like watching Lando on steroids. Like his macro is just pure, like he knows when to land his CC because he knows what the Zerg is capable of.
mhm.
So it's like he's reading the race before the race even hits because he knows what could be possible. He's like, oh, I see these gases down by the Zerg. Being a master Zerg, I know exactly what that means and I know how to defend that. I know that I shouldn't be scared here. I know that I don't have to drop bunkers here. I know that I can cut corners here.
You
Oh,
actually
he's
you.
going roaches. I don't need to build turrets. Like these are all
Mhm.
things that he knows, and players like Tang. Whereas I guarantee you, they're at least diamond with these other races. They don't know the mechanics quite as well as Stark does.
Yeah, and you made a huge point there where you said it's all Zerg. Look at the round of 8 here. There's one Terran
Hmm.
and 6 Zergs and a possible 7. Now you said research Protoss,
Yeah.
right? And
Hmm.
he might have the edge here in that one, so he might be able to get through, which means that it's possible that Stark may face a Protoss at the finals, but probably unlikely.
I would say
Uh,
the number of players, just by sheer number of players, puts that chance in the lower percentages. Um, but even if that were the case, one of the things about Stark too that we saw today, even though we only saw 2 games, is he's capable of basically doing anything that Terran has. He can do the parade push. He can go bio. He can go mech. He can be aggressive with his Hellion Banshee opener. It's just like his gameplay is very seamless, and it's actually quite scary because a Terran player that can basically play anything is extremely formidable and should not be discounted in any way. That
yeah.
would be a huge mistake.
So I'm really excited to see how the rest of this bracket is going to turn out. Yeah, we had some one-sided matchups in the round of 16. It's going to happen in a tournament like this,
It happens.
but we're getting more and more exciting as we move through. So I don't know. Did you have anything else you wanted to add going forward here? Or are we about ready to end this?
I would say I'd just like to close out by saying thank you to all the players that went ahead and submitted these replays for us. This is this is what makes these events so action-packed and full of fireworks as we have the players in order to do this, and makes these games really interesting to watch. Congratulations to those that move forward. Congratulations to those that didn't. You guys still kick ass. And I'm looking forward to casting the round of 8 and then onwards toward the finals for the All Invitational 5.
Awesome. I don't think I could have said that any better myself. So on that note, thanks again from my end. Thank you guys for participating. Thanks for watching the stream. And stay tuned. Next Sunday, starting 10 a.m. Eastern, we'll kick off the round of 8. I'm so pumped for that.
I'm pumped too.
All right, guys. We'll talk to you later. Have a good rest of your weekend.
Take care, guys.